You're on. You're live. Please go.
Hello, everyone. My name is Matt Owen. I have been asked and have accepted to serve as the ambassador or an ambassador of the nation of Gran California. What is Gran California? Well, it's a country that is divided between its neighbors, like some other countries, was overrun by them, composed of hundreds of indigenous nations that were welded into a unit which existed from the time of the Spanish conquest until the U.S. invaded and split the northern part of it, Alta California, off from the southern part of it, Baja California. And we here in Alta California are fighting for our liberation from the conquering country, the U.S., and we come to find out that not only are the people in Baja fighting for the same thing, if we achieve our liberation, they want to join us, to rejoin us in a country which they call Gran California. I was calling it that, and I got such a response. I was wondering why. Turns out they've been calling it that since 2018, a year before I was. So they didn't join our movement. We joined theirs, which has been a movement since 2012. Okay. So this flag you see behind me, the 1836 Battle Jack, I offered, and it was enthusiastically accepted as a national flag for all of Gran California. The first video you're going to see is the ceremony at which I offer and they accept this Battle Jack here as the national flag of Gran California. The second is going to be taken on a train that I took to contact the Kume'e, indigenous people whose land was split by the international border. And we pulled over by the Rodriguez Dam, and just 3 random passengers. I talked to them, and you're going to see that they support the reunification of the Californias. And then the third and longest video is used by MIBC, the Movement of Independence of Baja California, to make the case for our reunification. I hope you'll find it as rousing and fascinating as I did. Here we go. The wonders of technology. Okay, and here we go. This is us. Myself and Hannah from Alta California. And restart the video. Not this one, man. On the YouTube video, start.
Good. Yeah, you do it.
Wait, borrow this real quick?
Yes.
Oh.
Okay, here we go. A little technical adjustment. Yes, this has never happened before. Our 2 independence movements uniting into a single independence movement, a single liberation movement under this flag.
There were organizations from the United States that they want the independence of California from the United States. There were liberals asking for the independence also of Baja California, the state of Baja California of our country of Mexico, so they can have independence of California from the United States and from the country of Mexico.
And then I gave a little. Yes, the goal is for each of us to declare our independence, to make way for the new nation of Gran California, where this wall behind us will no longer exist.
Y encontramos a tres compañeras que llevan la bandera nacional de Gran California. ¡Viva Gran California! ¡Viva Gran California! ¡Viva Gran California! Vámonos pues.
Bienvenidos al Porvenir, esto es notificción, especulación coyuntural con los hechos, periodismo futurista, el registro puntual del mañana. Nada parece ya sorprendernos hoy en día.
This was the signing of the memorandum of understanding. Happened right after what you just saw. See what they're predicting? The reunification of our country. A Declaration of Independence signed by our three governors. Similar to the Continental Congress signing the U.S. Declaration of Independence.
Cansadas las tres entidades de las incongruencias de sus gobiernos, del exceso de corrupción y mala administración, decidieron en el acuerdo llamado de San Bernardino.
I don't know why they picked on my hometown. It is kind of out of the way, though. If you wanted to do a secret meeting, followed by a public pronouncement, it's a good place.
Every man, woman, and child who's come here for a better life has contributed to the well-being of our state.
La Nueva California tendrá 4 regiones, California Norte y Sur, divididas en el paralelo 36.
Which we cross every time we go back and forth, parallel to the two Baja states.
Y serán el inglés, el español y el mandarín los idiomas oficiales. El alcalde de Los Ángeles, Eric.
Let me tell you a little story on that one. I'm a rideshare driver, so I make the money. Every week, I pick up more Mandarin speakers than I do Spanish speakers. Yes, and so they're saying that our ties with China are already so close that in addition to Inglés y Español, usamos Mandarin, okay? Every time I ask for what can you recommend in Mexicali or Tijuana? Oh, there's a good Chinese restaurant, blah, 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 blah. When I was in Tecate, in the shadow, literally, of the brewery, I was looking for a place to eat. Everybody else took off to places they know. And what's across the track? A Chinese restaurant. Okay. Their presence goes all the way back to the gold rush times. And there are so many. They're so integral. If you go out on Huntington Boulevard, you will see Chinese signs for miles and miles and miles and miles. They're suggesting here, and again, keep in mind, this is the folks from Baja made this, that we have 3 official languages, to the extent we have any official languages, for international communication anyways, in addition to our indigenous languages. We use English, Spanish, and Mandarin.
Calexit reta a Trump a que ponga un muro también alrededor de la Nueva California.
Muy buenas noches. It's great to be here from Los Angeles. Los Angeles is a city with such a huge, thriving Latino population that we expect Donald Trump to build a wall around us.
And keep in mind, it was the folks from Baja who suggested that we move the capital from Sacramento, which was founded on the basis of the genocide of the indigenous peoples there to make way for the gold rush, to LA. I was thinking San Diego, Tijuana because of the proximity to the border, but they says no. Los Angeles is more vital and more centrally located. Let's relocate the capital there. This also goes with their proposal, again, a Baja proposal, to have 4 regions. Okay. And LA, they'd have the 3 governors as before, plus a 4th governor for SoCal. Our executive branch for the national government doesn't have to have 1, it can have 4. And so already we're leading the way in our diversity in that we would have, instead of a president like this orange guy to our east, who shall be remaining nameless, you could have 4 governors and an executive council, a collective executive. Okay, you would have the 3 existing governors plus a 4th governor from the region where the national capital, LA, is situated. So
LA gets its own governor.
LA, well, SoCal, south of the 36th parallel, gets its own governor. 36th parallel goes right across Alta California, San Bernardino, Kern, and San Luis Obispo County. That's their northern border. And it goes all the way from the Nevada border, straight shot to the desert, just like the border between Alta and Baja Norte and between Baja Norte and Baja Sur. That's what they were basing it on. They look at the map, they go, hey, look at that.
So basically, LA gets a governor.
Yeah, basically LA gets a 4th governor. And,
What's the other 3 again?
Alta Norte with Sacramento, it stays there. Okay. Diplomatically, our embassies would be divided where they already are, San Francisco and LA. You don't have to centralize them. Okay. And in addition, you would have U.S. consulates in federal buildings in Alta and Mexican consulates in Mexican federal buildings in Baja. Okay. And because so many people would be dual citizens, we'd all start out with that. You have a lot of consulates, so people could go vote. If they felt like it, they could pay taxes. We're not going to enforce that, but if they feel they must, okay, they'd have a place to pay it to, the U.S. and Mexican consulates, which is also where they would vote in those elections. So it will work out pretty well.
And this would be by popular vote, right? All the 4 regions would be added up.
Well, okay, this is the executive branch. You would have 1 governor elected for each of the 4 regions. You have 4 governors, and that's your executive council. Okay, there's historic precedent for that. When the Soviet Union broke up, the 4 presidents of the largest republics, Russia, Ukraine, Belarus, and Kazakhstan, got together, jointly seceded from the Soviet Union, which, ceased to be, and formed the Commonwealth of Independent States. And they remained presidents of these independent republics, which now don't get along, okay? Well, that's now. Back then, they got along to the extent they agreed to dismantle the Soviet Union. We will be reassembling like they did in Germany. And another way we can amend the California Constitution is to have a clause like they had in the old West German Constitution, to where others could accede to our republic, open the door to the quickest way to reassemble Gran California. Again, that's up to the folks in Baja if they want to do it that way. But basically, yeah, we can form something much more democratic than they have in the U.S. or in Mexico, for that matter.
30 millones de personas tiene la actual California y solo 4 millones el territorio casi virgen de la península de Baja, por lo que el potencial para explotar es enorme.
Yep, that's right. 40 million in Alta, 4 million in Baja. But once you knock that border down, there's lots of room. Okay? And, of course, there are also the indigenous nations of Baja. And we'd be working with them to develop Baja in a way that's compatible with their values. And to redevelop Alta more compatible with the values of our indigenous people.
Su extensión desde Humboldt en la frontera con Oregon hasta Finisterre en Los Cabos tendrá 2.500 kilómetros de costa en el Pacífico y se suman otros 1.000 del mar de
That's a lot of beach.
el acuario del planeta.
That's even more beach.
La que es ahora la sexta economía del mundo promete convertirse en
Yep.
una de las primeras en menos de una década. Multiplicarán su agricultura, explotarán la legalización del cannabis, impulsarán paraísos.
Yeah, the Central Imperial Valley's waving fields of, yes.
Yeah, cannabis.
Oh, yeah.
Informática como Silicon Valley,
Look at that. You see that windmill farm? The Agua Caliente band of Cahuilla have one of those. They have one of the biggest ones.
What
So-
is this at?
Palm Springs.
Oh, it's the Palm Springs one.
Yeah, Palm Springs, they have that. And so as they recover their land, they have the opportunity to become the Switzerland. Not indigenous Palestine. They become a Switzerland that exports electricity all over the North American continent, both from our deserts, like near the Agua Caliente Reservation, and an enormous potential for Baja, wind, and, of course, solar.
su producción de energía eléctrica, eólica y solar en los
Yeah,
desiertos de Baja.
they're predicting that it would double our electricity instead of.
Más importante del mundo. Ha despertado el oso del oeste.
There.
En un giro
Yes.
inesperado, reviviendo las leyendas del zorro y de Don Diego de la Vega, el gobernador Jerry Brown confronta a Goliat y logra una estrella de la bandera del tío Sam. Se retira del American Club. De igual forma rechazan el águila azteca los gobernadores Francisco Vega y Carlos Mendoza. 167 años después de que fuera admitido California como el estado número 31 de la Unión Americana y que fuera obligado México a ceder ese territorio con el Tratado de Guadalupe Hidalgo en la Guerra del 48, ahora toma las riendas de su destino California para convertirse en una nación futurista y en defensa de la humanidad.
Los californianos seremos ejemplos de una forma de hacer política más justa. Democracia efectiva, no simulación.
No podemos
That was the governor of Baja Sur. Okay, Governor Davis. Okay, that's the governor of Baja Sur saying this. That all of us Californians could teach our parent countries a few things about democracy. Oh, yes, we could.
seguir con las absurdas políticas de Donald Trump y los grupos de derecha deshumanizados, declaró Jerry Brown al dar el anuncio de su decisión. Los principales comandos de la Marina ubicados en puertos de San Diego y San Francisco han dado su apoyo al llamado de independencia de California. De igual forma lo hizo la Fuerza Aérea y Armada establecidas en Fort Ewing y Monterey. Las
Again, following historical precedent. When the Soviet Union fell, Russia and Ukraine had bases they've held in common, particularly the naval bases. And they managed a force division between the two republics, okay, principally the Navy, but, also Air Force and Army bases. There was a joint force agreement. So they're predicting we can do the same thing with the Americans. We can have a joint force agreement. Okay. If not, if they try to resist, we do what the Cubans did. We don't have to have a Fort Sumter moment. You quarantine their base so they can't attack you, and you don't attack them. You just leave them. But they're predicting that the majority of the armed forces here will support our independence.
Are you saying that they're already supporting
Prediction. This is all
Well,
predicting.
this is a prediction,
Yeah.
this is not.
No, they're predicting that things that are set in motion once we do declare our independence. One of them will be the support of the majority of the armed forces. Okay, but there's even more startling predictions down the road in this video.
En el pastel a esta decisión histórica la puso China con su apoyo incondicional a California y ofrecieron crear una sociedad cultural y comercial transpacífica de inmediato.
Pues se reveló que tienen planes de construir una enorme planta de energía nuclear e inaugurar un gran centro turístico de primer nivel. Aún no se da a conocer el monto de la oferta, pero se estima que en su propuesta inicial ya rebasa los 400.000 millones de dólares, según revelaron diversas fuentes de manera extraoficial.
Well, just as France, a monarchy, supported the republic, the U.S., we don't have to have values in common with the Chinese, just common interests. And who knows? What happened to the French monarchy after the U.S. independence? There were some French people that were so impressed that they started the French Revolution. Who knows what will happen in China? They're up in arms now over the coronavirus, absolutely up in arms. They've been having strikes, breaking their own records year after year. China is not standing still. The Chinese people are on the move, and who knows where they'll move after we're independent.
And if I could, that's the difference between Americans and Californians.
Yes.
America wants to point a gun at China and says, you better damn well follow our model or we'll blow you up.
Mhm.
And Californians are saying, I'm never going to tell you what to do. I'm never going to pressure you. I'm going to have you hang out with me. And if you think I'm really awesome and you want to do how I do, then that's fine. See the difference in the approach?
That's right. That's California values.
Different
And
approach.
Which
Yep.
is ironic that, I was just gonna say, which is ironic that we have more in common with China. We can probably get along better with China because of the trade thing than the United States.
Exactly.
Which is like
yes.
crazy.
No, California's number one thing is trade. China's number one thing, trade.
Yeah.
Hmm.
That
Yeah.
everything depends on trade for
And
them.
it comes
That's right.
through our ports.
Yes.
And our economy is dependent on trade. You know whose economy is not dependent on trade? America.
Hmm.
You're right.
This goes all the way back. When the Silk Road collapsed, Africa, Asia, and Europe were all finding an alternative. The first was Ibn Battuta from Morocco. The second was Zhang He, who had not a conquest fleet like Columbus and his little boxcars, who were the last, but a huge trade fleet. Yeah, cargo ships. He sent cargo ships.
See the difference?
And we'd all be speaking Mandarin now, except for the fact that there was a change of government in China, and the new government was Islamophobic, and Zhang He, admiral, was a Muslim. That's the only reason that they didn't make it here before Columbus. Okay, it was Islamophobia. Gee.
Interesting.
So it goes all the way back. Okay. Yeah. Not all their predictions, do I like, particularly this one. I mean, I like most of them. This one about a ginormous Chernobyl or Fukushima. If the Chinese want to really plunk down 400 billion, they already said where to do it with the windmills and the solar and our high-speed railway, which would be powered by those.
Yeah.
We have a lot better places to put them in a ginormous reactor.
Yeah. We're not having a reactor in
Yeah.
California. Not fission. I'm open to fusion.
Right.
But certainly, why can't we get China to build us a high-speed rail system for free off their bank?
Right.
I totally backed on that. And you know who else said that? Schwarzenegger, the governor. Sorry. Keep going.
So,
La que era la mayor potencia del mundo pierde a su estado más poblado y casi el 15% del Producto Interno Bruto del país.
this is the beginning of the predictions of what will happen in the U.S. after we're independent.
No se sabe qué pasará y qué arrebato y berrinche hará el presidente Trump. Las represalias pueden ser violentas, pero el dios dinero en Estados Unidos es el que manda y California tiene buenas cartas para negociar. Esta es la historia del siglo XXI, pero aún hay mucho por escribir. También los estados de Sonora, Arizona y Nevada, que se cree estuvieron en las reuniones secretas, Dijeron estar a la expectativa y con posibilidades de unirse a la Gran California.
Did you catch that? The former territories of the east of Gran California expressed an interest in rejoining, along with Sonora on the other side of the Sea Cortez. We have other predictions about a more north-south axis and so on. But yeah, they are predicting that once Gran California is reassembled and reunited, that others are going to want to join it. That's their prediction.
El anuncio de la nueva república despertó otra fiebre de oro en California. La migración ilegal e incluso la legal sale por millones de todos los rincones del país, por todas las vías.
Which country are they leaving? They'll tell you in a minute.
Y todas las formas escapan a la persecución y se trasladan para intentar llegar a ese nuevo paraíso, la Shangri-La del oeste que promete trabajo, libertad e igualdad. El oro que brilla es el sueño californiano y todos quieren dejar ahora la pesadilla americana.
That's right. The refugees will be coming from the U.S. That's their prediction, that once we're independent, we'll have a wave of U.S. refugees coming here that will dwarf anything that came north coming west. Okay.
The Baja Latinos are predicting that Yankee Americans will bail on America and come to an independent California.
Hey, it's happened before,
Think about that.
and we all need to be ready for them.
Yeah.
Esta es información confidencial de notificción.
See, there are those who are saying, well, we should turn them away. Absolutely not. They're coming out for a reason. Okay? They are coming out for a reason.
Let's pause.
And I like what you said about, we wrote the
Oops.
U.S.
Pause.
Known as the door of
Just
no
click the
return,
video.
it was the last
Yeah.
step
How do I-
African slaves took on their
Click it once. There you go.
Okay.
I like the thing about reframing, what we've always been taught, the American dream to the California dream.
Oh, yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
That's really good. That's a really
Yep.
good point.
Do you have more points on this?
Well, basically that's it. It's a very rousing video that we're using. See, I, as an ambassador of Gran California, to Baja, and I'm ambassador of the Alta California Independence Movement. To you, I'm an ambassador of the Baja movement, hence the film. And to the rest of the world, I'm just ambassador of our country, Gran California, Libre.
Yeah. Even